Thanks for tuning into our 2021 e-bike shootout. Today we're going to be taking a detailed look at the Trek Rail 9.9. Of the 12 bikes in our shootout this year, we had 6 in the trail category and 6 in the enduro. The Trek Rail sits in that trail category, which is a 150mm rear travel bike or less. And it was a top competitor, actually won an award in last year's shootout. So we had high hopes for it coming into 2021. And you'll have to hit that subscribe button and make sure you come back for our final roundtable discussion and where we compare all the bikes together. But today, we're gonna let you know how it did on its own. The Rail 9.9 has 150mm rear travel and comes with a RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate RT3 rear shock and a RockShox Zeb Ultimate fork. That fork is a big upgrade over the fork spec on the 2020 model, and we were definitely excited to see how it would handle the rocky and rough terrain in St. George, Utah. As we expected, stiffness, support, and bump compliance was a lot better on that Zeb, and it made for a great upgrade on this bike. Trek continues to use the Bosch Performance CX motor on this with a 625 watt-hour battery. We love the Bosch system, guys. I mean, it offers the most power, the best usable power in our opinion, and we were able to climb stuff on this bike that we could not climb on any other bike. So yeah, the Bosch stuff is awesome. As much as we like certain characteristics of other motor systems, you know, better or maybe not as much, this thing just flat out climbs anything and is a ton of fun. Moving on to the brake spec, we've got the SRAM Code RSC brakes, SRAM X01 Eagle 12-speed drivetrain, and a Bontrager Line Elite dropper post. This is a 29er front and rear, and as with the rest of our bikes in the shootout, we spec'd them with the Magic Mary front and the Schwalbe Big Betty rear. Like the rest of Trek's mountain bikes, it has adjustable geometry via the Minnow link, and you can take the reach from 465 to 470 mil. The stack height comes in at 630 or 627, has a 1,243 millimeter wheelbase and 448 or 447 millimeter chainstays. The bottom bracket height, depending on your geo chip, is 339 or 344 mil. And the seat tube angle is 75 degrees, while the head tube angle is 64.5 or 64.9. So we'll cut to a little bit of our on-location feedback, give you guys a little insight, and then kind of go into who this bike's ideally suited for and where we thought it excelled. Woo.
Zeb, I like the 38 more. In all this riding we've done, I've had better experience on the 38. For me, when I go to ride one, I know how I want to set it up, and then I can just leave it. The Zeb for me was a little more finicky and wanting to kind of needing to experiment with maybe some volume reducers.
This bike rips. Yeah. This bike rips. Like plush off the top, and it feels bottomless. And even when we took that bike out with the enduro bikes and we rode down some of the even chunkier stuff and testing the enduro bikes, this thing kept up and you were able to charge. I never felt held back.
So as you heard, our riders were very stoked on this bike. Again, not much changed from last year's bike, and the few things that did change only made it better. So it is playful, it is stable, it is fast, it climbs well, it has versatile geometry. It's a pretty dialed bike overall. We absolutely enjoyed this thing about as much as you can enjoy a bike out on the trail. So definitely stoked on how this bike rode. Now, there are downsides to the bike. Obviously, nothing is perfect, and this thing is far from perfect. So It's $10,000, one of the more expensive bikes in our shootout. Obviously, Trek does have some more affordable options on the market. You're going to be, you know, losing some of the spec of this higher priced bike, which obviously means that the performance is going to go down as well. So, you know, finding that balance point of what you can comfortably afford with versus, you know, what's going to be the best ride for you is kind of going to be your choice ultimately. Beyond the price point, the hardware and the axles on Trek bikes, specifically their e-bikes, continue to come loose on us. This is an issue Trek really needs to get figured out. We're not sure what's going on there, but we've had multiple bikes that, you know, rides have been ruined out on the trail, and we've literally just lost hardware, you know, like on really long, rough descents. Similarly, the rear axle comes loose regularly. So I don't know if they need to start speccing a little bit stronger Loctite or, you know, thread fastener on there, but that is definitely something to pay attention to. Brake spec is another critique. We are not fans of the SRAM code brakes. They're the best SRAM option, but on a 50-pound e-bike that's so capable and fast, we would love to see something that's a little more reliable, a little more consistent, and lasts longer. The SRAM stuff, it just doesn't quite last that long. Trek Rail 9.9, kick-ass bike, we love it. Where does it stand in the rest of the field? You're gonna have to wait to find out for our final episode and roundtable discussion. So make sure you guys check that out. It's coming soon. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you out on the trail.